Hello and welcome to the very first video on my new channel, Jane of All Trades. I'm so excited to be talking about one of my favourite subjects, which is filmmaking. During these times, you're sitting about doing a lot of nothing. So for some reason it just came to me that I would make a horror movie trailer for a movie that doesn't even exist. It was a really fun project. It didn't take that long. It was maybe a couple of hours, which included the filming and the editing, then a little bit of time for some spooky audio, and then it was all put together and ready to share with the friends and fam the very next day. So if you would like to kind of venture into making movie trailers, just to kind of try to practice or kind of kick off what you would do, get ideas together, maybe eventually venture into making an entire film, then I'll show you how I did mine with the greatest of ease and top level knowledge, because that's what Jane of All Trades is actually about. It's not about being a master of anything, it's about having enough top level knowledge to get a really great finish at the end of whatever project you are handling. So here we are in Premiere Pro. This is actually my finished project, so we're going to be kind of working around more kind of past tense than actually doing it as I go along. In future videos, I would really kind of prefer the kind of doing it together kind of theme as opposed to going back, but due to the nature of this kind of project, I'll probably always kind of be going back to show you what I did as opposed to doing it there and then. And that's simply because of the fact that I'm kind of learning as I go, because I am Jane of All Trades. And I too am learning this trade. So there's a lot of me jumping back and forth, finding the right tutorial, getting the right footage. More often than not, you actually end up with loads of footage if you are really thinking about what length you want. I kind of went into it not really knowing what I wanted the outcome to be. I had only done a general storyboard, which I highly recommend. Always do a storyboard. And really kind of pull your ideas together. So I'd done a general storyboard, but really I just filmed all the shots that I had boarded and realised that in the end I didn't have enough shots, so I ended up going back and then getting another couple of extra shots just to fill out a few extra seconds, just to give the video an overall better flow. So here we are in Premiere Pro. I've got my project all set up. Over here we have, that's my clips. This is where I keep my clips. I like to make new little folders and just separate everything out. So I've got an audio folder and I've got a new video folder. If you want to create a new folder, it's this little guy here and you just type in whatever you want. So that's new folder right there. To import, you just double click. I have no idea where the folder is going to go. So there you go. So that's a project that I had been working on a sideline. Yay! So once you've done that, you get all your little projects in there, and then you can go to, like, there's new videos. I've got Knife. Knife was me going back and shooting some more scenes because I didn't have enough footage. So when you're in your clips area, you can double click on your footage and then it opens it up, and then this gives you a little timeline so you can just look at that clip. So that's actually footage that I never used. It didn't turn out that well, that's why I never used it. So we'll go down, we'll just find one that I did use. Oopsie daisy. It was this wee blue thing that I wanted. So this is footage that I did use in the end. Change the orientation, the colour in the end, but that's essentially footage that I used. So this is quite a short clip. If it was a long clip and you wanted to drag it into your timeline, all you do is you hit I on your keyboard and it marks it with a little in, and then you go along slightly, and then it marks it with a little out, and then there's these two draggables here. So drag video only does exactly what it says on the tin. It'll drag it down to your timeline and it'll leave the audio behind. If you want the audio, not the video, you select the other one. So all you're doing is just pulling that into the timeline like that, and then it appears, which is really, really cool. Especially if you're working with clips such as this, instead of like doing what I did and you just shoot it, stop. You might do a film and you might just decide to keep the camera rolling the entire time, just so that you definitely don't miss that perfect shot, and therefore you would have quite an extensive bit of film to go through. So it's a really easy way of segmenting it. If that was maybe 10 to 20 minutes long, you can just literally go and pull out all the little clips that you're interested in and nothing else. And you can leave your original stock footage just behind. So that's a really great way of doing that. So that was how I just got all my little clips into the end. So that was where I put them all. So that's all these here. These are all my little clips. And I've also got text in between, as you saw. So basically my tagline is split up throughout the clips as well, to kind of build that tension. And then these green ones at the bottom are audio. I've muted a couple of clips. Originally I had talking audio footage also in, so it was, you know, things like I think there's someone in the house, and it just wasn't working. It just didn't sound right. I'm not an actress per se either, so again that would be a brand new trade for me, mate, because I normally spend my days behind the camera and not in front of it. So let's just have a wee look back at the timeline, and we have got so I'd put all my clips not even in order, and the order they're in now is not the order that they were put in initially. I tried to keep clips that were too similar separated, because that's what you wanted. You wanted a kind of flash of this scene, flash of that scene. You didn't want too much continuity. And in the end I ended up with actually 3 clips of the knife. Originally I only had 1 before I went back to film some more. However, in the end, it's like the knife is really the star of the show, because the knife is the danger. So every time that comes on, you're like, oh, that's a big sharp knife. That's not a knife, that's a knife. So it just kind of like increased the tension in the end. So you want to go through and kind of have a wee look at what shots you're going to be really working with. So this first shot, which is really, the reason for this was to kind of give the viewer that impression that it was dusk. You know, the light's coming down, you're all alone. Like, this is what that initial scene was to portray, was the time of day, and I did actually film it quite late on in the evening. It had been quite a nice day, so there was a lot of good glare. So, I mean, that's even a lot of natural glare. That's just through my front door. And then obviously everything else is black, so that you can't really see just the fact that it's just a very bog standard door. And that all comes down to post-production in the end. So what I'd really worked with is colour. And colour is really important, but what Premiere actually has to offer is lumimetry colour, and you can choose all kinds of like cinematic presets basically. So on one that I absolutely love for turning daytime footage into nighttime footage is lumimetry colour Cinespace. And all I do with this is, if I just go down, is I select creative. You get wee drop downs like there. Oh no, I've just lost it. Oh, there it is. And creative, and then I just go SL Blue, day for night. I mean, that really does what it says on the tin. I love day for night. it really changes the look and feel, so that if everything is a bit too kind of bright and warm, it really takes it down and makes it dead cold. And I'd highly recommend it if you've got if you're filming anything and you just want to portray an icy atmosphere, blue wash it. It's like the quickest way to make everything look cold is just to blue wash it. And one of the other ones that I love on this, like if I was using it, is blue steel, because it is like an icy blue, so it's not too intense blue, but it's not kind of keeping it on the warm side either. I would absolutely recommend that one. You can also choose the intensity of how blue or how much day for night you actually want to use. And to be honest, I didn't even touch anything else. There is lots for you to kind of play about with. Again, for me, I do like to keep it simple because, well, one, I'm still learning. Two, you don't want to overdo it because everyone's going to notice if you overdo it. And if you just start just using effects like willy-nilly and wham bam, I think it takes away. It's almost like in film, if you're watching a movie, how many effects do you think you actually see throughout that movie? When I watch a movie, sadly I'm one of those people that's always looking in the background or always going, oh, that's a lovely shot, or they could have done that better, or I didn't like that angle. I can't remember the last time I sat and watched a movie and went, oh, the story was lovely. So less is more, and I've always found that in anything that I've worked on, I've always kind of stuck to that principle. Like once it's like 10% what you're showing, and then 90% how it's going to make the viewer feel, and I think that's what makes a great video. Is don't think about what the viewer is going to see, think about what the viewer is going to feel, and you'll probably absolutely nail it when it comes to the visuals and audio. And then everyone will be they'll be laughing, or they'll be in tears of joy, or they'll be in tears of sadness, or they'll be hiding behind a cushion. So that is absolutely what you want to go for. So this is all very less is more. So, and this is where I started. So back to the actual footage. So that's the front door. Very simple shot. I filmed it using my Canon 750D, which is filming me actually from the left as a dual camera right now. It's actually the lower end Canon, as you know, a 750D. It's a really high number. Canon, the lower the number, the dearer the camera, or the better the camera. Depends on whether you work on finance or quality. I don't know. I think it gives a great output. The thing about that I've noticed about the 750D is no matter what you film, it does film it quite warm. It's got like a natural warm tint on it. But it's totally overrideable in post-production. But if I had just filmed the footage and put this together, and it would all look cosy warm because it naturally does that. I've got a Panasonic 4K handheld camcorder. Probably around the same price mark as the Canon. Again, low end. What I love about it is it does super slow motion, so that's one of it. But when if I filmed the same scene in both cameras, the Panasonic would come out colder, so it would come out more blue. So different cameras will definitely give you a different kind of feel, so you may not have to put on as much in post-production if your camera is already giving you exactly what you need. So don't force too much if you absolutely don't have to. So if we'll go on to the next scene, which is isolation. Now this is basically keyframed text. So this is in Essential Graphics. That's where you type in. This is all your little doodads, really. You also get the opportunity to like align and stuff like that, but double click on that. You've got alignment, you've got transformation, so you can choose your size. I've got it as big as I could get it. And then I went over and I just used keyframes to get what I wanted. So here, the scale, I wanted it smaller, so I zip that down small, and then you click on the little timer, and then the little timer puts in a little keyframe, and then I just move my little bar over just to near the end or just before the end, and then I change the size that I want it to be when it finishes. And what it'll do is it'll just drop a little keyframe there, and then I just move the keyframe over right to the very end, because it can be a bit of a faff getting that time thing right on the end of the clip. So it's easier just to create the keyframe and then move it, and then the keyframes will give you the nice smooth run between those 2 points. So that's a really easy way of kind of making the text go. So that's starting keyframe point, and then we'll move it up, and then it becomes end keyframe point. So we've totally jumped loads of footage here. So, and that's how we got the movement of isolation. So the next clip is just a clip that I just filmed in my living room, and it's really just to give some kind of start to the story so that you didn't jump straight into the horror. So the premise of the film was, when you're in lockdown, isolation doesn't mean alone. So all I'm doing here is I'm just kind of opening up a letter, which is basically a furlough letter, and then you kind of read that, and then it's kind of, I don't really know how to take that. That was the only bit of acting I had to do. Not the best actress in the world, but I think it kind of works. Then we go on and we just text again. And with this one, you can actually just copy and paste. You just click on, then you Control C, and then you deselect anywhere, put your cursor somewhere and Control V, and you can just copy and paste anything you want over. And then I just went back to Essential Graphics and double clicked, and there we go. And that's how we got exactly the same setup for Doesn't Mean. Here, again, just kind of another kind of filler. It was, I just happened to kind of find this in amongst my footage, and I thought, a quick look to one side could maybe indicate, did you hear something? Or what's going on? So it was just like a quick bit of flash footage between bringing out the key element of the tagline, which is alone, which I've also made red to really bring out the impact of that. So moving on to the next scene this is when the horror started. So again, we're just setting up the camera, and this is just a foot coming down the stairs. You're trying to tell a story so quickly that you just need as many little shots as possible, but in some kind of order. You don't want it to be just madness. You don't want it just to go flash here, flash there. Try and tell your story in some kind of order. Even though you have no story, there is no film, there's nothing to tell, there's no point in jumping things back upside down. So this is all you've got. You've got a few seconds to say, right, this is where it all went Pete Dong. So, foot coming down the stairs, hand coming down the stairs, blur. The blur there was actually caused by the Canon itself. I didn't even have to add any Gaussian blur or do anything. So I really liked that shot. I liked that kind of lack of focus, kind of bringing down that kind of mood. And then next we've got the opening of a door. Just very simple shot, really offset, really wanting to kind of use that. And obviously I'm filming this in the middle of the afternoon. That's actually a really bright shot, bright and clear, and I have added day for night, and it has come out, and it now looks like I'm wandering about the house in the dark, and I'm not. So that was quite a nice shot just to get that the right length. This shot was filmed in the dark. I actually filmed this shot in the kitchen, closed the curtains, shut the door, turned the light off, and it's so dark behind me because my fridge is black. So originally the shot was going to be like, it was going to be longer, so it was me, and I'm at the fridge, and then the fridge is like here, and then I turn around, and then I'm like, you know, but not like Ben Stiller from Blue Steel kind of, but it was gonna be like, whoop, you know. So, but with the fear in the eyes, super duper close up shot. That's, see, horror's a funny thing because, well, especially for me, I mean, nobody really looks that good with their mouth hanging open. Superstars, I suppose, is like, you know, that's not a good look on anyone. So I didn't really want that kind of shot in the trailer because I don't look good doing that. You know, I'm no Angelina Jolie. It's just not there, so it's not gonna be like a, you know, that I just don't look good doing that. So I didn't want that in. But one of the features that I actually do like about myself is my eyes. Like, okay, just ignore the black bags and whatnot. So definitely close up eye shot. I thought I could act with my eyes. It's like the fear. I can get quite wide eyes. You know, I've got quite big dark eyes as it is, so it kind of works. You know, you're not going to see people's eyes or anything like that. So if I'm up to you quite close, like that, right. So I mean, that's as close as I can get. Then that's how I decided to portray it. I decided to act with the eyes. So going back to the footage, there we go. That is me acting with my eyes, and then it's just a case of, oh, I turned round, I think I heard something. And then the next shot is I did hear something. Just like that shot, and that shot were just filmed together. I opened the door and then I slammed it shut with both hands. That was how long that shot was. And I think it worked pretty well because this is me in telling the story, increasing the drama. So now I want to give you the impression that I'm running around the house, that I live in a huge house even, which I don't, a very, very tiny house, but I want to give you the impression that I'm in a big house, that I can run around, and that I have lots of places to hide. I can show you I don't, so I had to kind of give that impression. So here we are, the picking up of the knife. Again, this was a daytime shot. If you look very closely, you can see these 3 random black things. This is the cabling from my TV. It's actually the reflection of it, because my TV unit is a really nice black shiny surface, and I just thought that the knife would look really good being picked up off of a glass surface. You didn't really get to see much of that in the final shot. This shot was not taken with the Canon. This is actually a shot that I just used my phone. So I got my phone, I put on the flashlight, I suppose you would call it, which is on the back. So there we go, phone, blah blah blah. Put that wee light on, and then hit record, and then turned the phone sideways, and then was actually pretty close. So that shot is actually a very bright shot because it's actually got the light right on my face, and I've created a kind of dark mood by hiding under a blanket. So I'm under a blanket. In the original shot you could see that the blanket was there, and the blanket is kind of like a purpley brown, and there you go. But what I love about the clarity of this is how, like, you can see the veiny shaky. I mean, that is like horror movie gold to me, is when, because I hate eyes freak me out, so that's like horror movie gold to me, is getting that kind of freaky eye look. The next shot is the knife, which I love this shot. I think it's the longest shot, and it's also my favourite shot because I had to get as much of this knife in as possible. So this was me going back and taking more footage. This was taken with the phone, the trusty phone, because it's easier to hold. I mean, if you're going to do a shot that is pointing straight down, why would you hold a lug of a camera when you could just hold your phone like that? So all I did was hold my phone, point flat, and then this comes with a warning. Don't play with knives, and especially don't be like dropping them and flinging them about. I was really dubious about this shot to begin with because I thought, oh, this is going to end in disaster. Actually ended up a really great shot, and I wasn't playing with the knife for an excessively long time. Only took me a couple of minutes. So phone like this, I held the knife flat and just dropped it and let it bounce, and I did that a couple of times. When I originally filmed it with my phone, I did it in slow motion, but when I put it onto the computer, it was just regular. So I don't know if when it filmed it in slow motion, it increased the frame rate. So instead of filming at 30, it did it at 60 or 120 so that you can slow it down better. But when I actually put it into Premiere, I had to slow it down anyway because it became real-time footage, and I slowed it down to 20%. So it's going at a quarter of the speed it would normally go at. It's not stuttering and stammering, so as far as I'm concerned, that's an absolute win. So that is my favourite shot. Well done phone. Well done phone. It's an old phone as well, but it serves me proud. So I absolutely love this shot. I totally went, as you can see, I went super dark on day for night. Like the intensity is 50%, but the shine on the knife is still perfect, even though you've made it a lot darker. So I think the effect has really, really worked. And then you can see the knife and the blade is starting to go down the way. Again, more acting with the eyes. Ignore the bags. But see, to be honest, I think that adds to it, because it's like, I haven't slept, I can't sleep because there's someone in the house. So I absolutely love that shot. Again, you can see some eye veining. Everything looks kind of so that was an absolute win. It's kind of very strange doing that on this shot where I actually get grabbed from behind. I'm not getting grabbed from behind. So basically all you need is a glove. That's quite a large glove, so it fitted very loosely in my hand, so it looks like an absolute man hand. And then I basically just went face onto the camera and went like that to myself. Right, so there was no, like, this was an absolute solo job, even the bits that looked like I had help from someone else. So that's what that was. So it's an old work glove, and then all I did was grab my own face and throw my head back, and it looks like somebody else has grabbed me. Next shot, I had to use this as well because I just loved the way the knife bounced. Again, phone shot, except this time it was portrait on the carpet. Oops, just turned the phone on by accident. Foot like this, and then I just dropped the knife like this. Oh, camera just went off. And then I just dropped the knife like this, and then it bounced on the carpet, and it gave an absolutely brilliant shot. So I was very, very pleased at how that turned out, like the way the camera just bounces like that. I mean, that is absolute gold. The next shot, I did blur this deliberately. This is a deliberate attempt at blur. So originally this was a long shot. It actually started all the way over here, and then, but it was a very long drag. It was a very long shot. It just didn't go with what was happening with the audio, and it just wasn't working. And then I changed it to this, and it actually worked with the audio as well. And what it is my hand, and I'm actually holding my phone, so the 750D is on the carpet at a slight angle. I've got my phone in my hand, and I'm literally just pulling my own hand like this. I'm just pulling my hand. So again, absolutely fabulous. I love that. And then a fade to black. So you may or may not have noticed that all the way through this there's no transitions, there's no fades, there's no la-di-da, there's not screen wipes or anything like that. We're not in 1960s Batman. We don't need that kind of thing. So it's just nice clean cuts, blam, blam, blam. And when you're watching a film or you're watching a TV show, that's what you're going to see all the time. is just straight down, up and down cuts. The only time it'll ever fade is if it's fading in or fading out, maybe to commercial, or because it wants to fade to black. It wants to give you just a few seconds to consider what you've just watched without ramming you into the next scene. And that's usually what you would use a fade to black for. You can also use a fade to white. I also use a fade to white. I use fade to white more if I'm making something a bit chirpy and cheery. I think fading to white is just happier. I know that's very strange. But if you're doing something kind of dark and dingy and moody and you really want people to think about what's going on, fade to black. Take a couple of seconds of black where people are thinking, wow. Or they're thinking, is my TV broken? I don't know. Is something going to come on? What's happened? That's because some people just fade to black for too long. And even I think that. I'm like, oh, something's broken. Right, so we're coming to the end of the clips. So now we've got the phone drag, and then that transitions into the movie title, which is Lockdown, and then finally at the end it's In Closed Cinemas Now. And again, you can just copy and paste your text. You can copy and paste the box, as I said, Control C, Control V, and then you just change the text and colour, but everything's still kind of there, your transition's kind of there, and that just makes that workflow just a tiny bit faster. Right, so I'm going to zoom out because you may have noticed throughout that we have the cinematic blackout. This is a really simple thing to do, and for me it's on here, and it's an adjustment layer. So when you're in here, you just click on that and you go new adjustment layer, and then it appears here in your project box, and then you just go to effects controls, and when you're in there, but what you need to do is you need to go to effects and you need to type in crop. So when you've got crop, you drag that over to your effects box, and then it's top and bottom. I've made mine really on the heavy side at 19.8. I wanted it really thin, I wanted it really tight. So, but I think 11.8 would probably be reasonable just for any standard footage. Okie dokie, so that's how you do the adjustment layer. And I've also watermarked it with Lockdown. I just copied and pasted and then moved what I needed to move. So we'll just go back here. And you can see that I have just changed some things. I changed the position so that I could get it down at the bottom. So you get like left, right and up and down. Scale 19.7% because I made it look very, very teeny. And then just put it down in the bottom corner. And that's the simplest way to watermark your video. So that's how I created the video. The audio track is kind of a different story. I'm going to approach audio in a different video. That's a piece that I wrote. Not a trained musician. Again, I'm a top level musician. This is why I went for Jane of all trades, because everything I do is top level. And I've just got enough equipment and enough knowledge to get by. So I decided to write my own horror movie music. I'd also just avoid copyright. I can't be bothered with that stuff. Oh, that's mine. Is it okay if I use this? What license have I got for this? If you write it yourself, you don't even have to care, and it's actually really easy. But there is a lot of freeballs on, like if you're using YouTube and this is where you're starting, there's freeballs on there already. And I say just use that. Just get in about it until you find something, or you want to branch out into writing your own theme tunes, just so that you've got that extra bit of originality. So there you have it. That is how I created my very own movie trailer for a movie that doesn't exist. So thanks loads for watching. I hope to have a video with you once every fortnight. Please feel free to like, please feel free to subscribe, because I'm new to this and it would be nice to know that people are actually watching my content. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.